Florida and Georgia compared. Florida and Georgia have some interesting features in common. We can funnily start by saying that both states are parts of the Union making the mighty United States of America. However, on a more serious note, we can point to the fact that both states are located in the southeastern region of the US. As a matter of fact, they share borders. Florida is bordered to the north by Georgia, while Georgia too is bordered to the south by Florida. In this video, we will examine Florida and Georgia compared as we discuss striking similarities and differences. In doing so, we'll consider the size, population, geography, economy, and people, among other striking details about the two states worthy of comparing. Geography, location and physical features. The state of Florida is located in the southeastern part of the US. It is bordered to the west by the Gulf of Mexico. Alabama is by its northwest, and Georgia, its company in this video, is by the north. It is also bordered to the east by the Bahamas and the Atlantic Ocean. To Florida's south is the Straits of Florida and Cuba. Here is a remarkable geographical fact. Florida is the only state sharing borders with both the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Georgia also is in the southeastern region of the US. It is bordered to the north by Tennessee and North Carolina. Its northeastern border is shared with South Carolina, while the Atlantic Ocean is understandably on its southeastern border. Of course, you'll automatically find Florida by its south, and to its west is Alabama. Talking about the geographical coordinates, Florida's are 28 degrees 37, 49.8 north, 82 degrees 26, 58.92 west, while the coordinates of Georgia are 432 degrees 38, 29.4 north, 83 degrees 26, 33.36 west. The elevation in Florida is 100 feet above sea level, while the highest elevation in the state, which is on Britton Hill, is 345 feet. In Georgia, the average elevation is 600 feet, while the highest elevation, which is on Brasstown Bald, is 4,784 feet. This shows that Georgia is towering above Florida. Population and size. Florida is the 22nd largest state in the US, spanning 65,758 square miles, and it's the third most popular, with a population of 22,244,823, according to 2022 estimates. Whereas Georgia is the 24th largest state, occupying a total area of 6,333 square miles. And with a population of over 10 million, it's the 8th most populous in the country, according to the US Census Bureau. From this, you can see two things. One, that Florida is about 1.11 times bigger than Georgia, and two, that Georgia is nevertheless less densely populated than Florida. While the population density in Florida is 414.8 per square mile, it's 185.2 per square mile in Georgia. About 18.5% of the Florida total area, namely 12,133 square miles, is covered by water. In Georgia, on the other hand, only 1,519 square miles, forming just 2.6%, is so covered. Thus, Georgia has a more habitable area than Florida. Considering the area occupied by water, the two states' land areas are almost of the same size, with only the land areas for both states, which are 53,625 square miles for Florida and 57,906 square miles for Georgia. The gap in size can swing in the other direction. Yes, Georgia can claim to be bigger than Florida by land area. State capitals and metros. The capital of Florida is Tallahassee, while the most populous city in the state is Jacksonville. The Miami metropolitan area is the most populous in Florida, with a population of almost 6.2 million. Meanwhile, it's the 9th most populous in the United States. Other urban conurbations in Florida with over 1 million residents are Tampa Bay, Orlando, and Jacksonville. In Georgia, Atlanta doubles as both the state capital and the state's largest city. That's another remarkable contrast. And add this to that, the Atlanta metropolitan area, which is the most populous metropolitan area in Georgia, is the 8th most popular metropolitan area in the country, with a population of more than 6 million residents. Understandably, about 57% of Georgia's entire population lives here. Thus, Atlanta, the capital of the state of Georgia, is bigger than Tallahassee, the capital of Florida. Also, the most populous city of Georgia is more populous than that of Florida. both in brief historical perspectives. Known before statehood as the Florida Territory, Florida has been occupied by different Native American groups for at least 14,000 years after the arrival of the people known as Paleo-Indians. Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon was the first known European to live here, calling the region La Florida in 1513 due to its lush greenery. The area known as the state of Florida subsequently became the first in the US to be permanently settled by Europeans. In 1565, the Spanish colony of St. Augustine was founded, and it remains the oldest continuously inhabited city. Florida was admitted to the Union on March 3, 1845, as a 27th state. Georgia was founded in 1732. Then known as the Province of Georgia, it was first settled in 1733 and became a British colony in 1752. The royal colony was then named after King George II of Great Britain as a British colony covering South Carolina south to Spanish Florida. Georgia was admitted to the Union on January 2, 1788 as the fourth state to ratify the US Constitution. By signing the 1776 Declaration of Independence, the province of Georgia became one of the 13 colonies that participated in the American Revolution, revolting against British rule. Western Georgia was split and became the Mississippi Territory in 1802. In 1804, it was readmitted. On January 19, 1861, Georgia too declared its cessation during the Civil War. After the war, it was restored to the Union on July 15, 1870, the last state to be readmitted. The economy of Florida and Georgia. The state of Florida has the fourth largest in the United States. Since it is a state, we are considering its gross state product, which is $1.2 trillion as of 2021. If Florida were ranked alongside sovereign nations in 2021, it would be the world's 16th largest economy, based on data from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Florida's economy is bigger than that of Indonesia, while it's behind that of Mexico. Sectors driving the state economy from the 20th century are biomedical and life sciences, construction, healthcare research, international banking, simulation training, tourism, aerospace and defense, and commercial space travel. According to the US Census Bureau, the median household income in Florida in 2022 was $57,700, ranking 34th in the country. As of the last check, Georgia's GSP was $602 billion. By comparison, Georgia's economy is about half of Florida's. Nevertheless, it is still healthy enough as the state continues to be one of the 15 with the highest credit rating by Standard & Poor's AAA. If Georgia were an independent country, its economy would be 28th largest in the world. The state economy is being driven by the 16 Fortune 500 companies and 26 Fortune 1000 companies having their headquarters there. Its economy is also driven by the airport in Atlanta, its capital, which is the busiest in the world, and by the port of Savannah, which is the fourth largest seaport and fastest growing container seaport in North America. For 5 years, though, in a row, Georgia has been ranked the top state to do business in the US, the number one for business and labor climate in the country, and in many more business-friendly rankings. The median household income in Georgia was $61,200, according to the US Census 2022 data. It ranks 29th, closely behind Florida. The Floridians and the Georgians. The people of Florida are called Floridians or Floridans, whilst those in Georgia are known as Georgians. About 67.3% of the Floridians speak English only, while 21.2% speak Spanish and 11.5% speak other languages. In Georgia, only 7.42% speak Spanish, while 2.82% speak other languages. The rest speak English only. According to the 2020 estimate, 57.7% of Floridians were white alone, while whites make up about 52.2% of Georgians. About 15.1% of Floridians are black or African American, while in Georgia they are about 32.3%. About 0.4% of Floridians are Native American, while they make up 1.5% of Georgians. Notable Floridians include Jacksonville-born Ron DeSantis, the 46th governor of Florida from 2019, and former President Donald Trump and businessmen live in Palm Beach, Florida. Also born in the state is Carl Hiaasen, a journalist and novelist. Notable Georgians include Plains-born Jimmy Carter, President of the US from 1977 to 1981. He was not only the 39th President of the United States, but also Governor of Georgia. Civil rights movement leader Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta in 1929. Please, we'd love this comparison to continue. Kindly let's know what similarities and differences you've noticed between Florida and Georgia.